everybody. It's great to see everybody here and no blue masking tape. So everybody, you're very welcome to be here at the City Council and successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency meeting of Tuesday, July 20th, 2021. I now call the meeting to order. So last week, the Costa Mesa Police Department records technician Madison Munguia had the honor of singing the national anthem at the opening ceremony for the OC Fair, and she did an amazing job. Since she made all of us so proud with her performance, we would like to replay a video showcasing Madison's talents for tonight's rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. Madison has been on staff at Costa Mesa since May 2018. We thank Madison for volunteering and for representing us so well in the community. Again, we invite any local performers who would like to be featured at our meetings to please contact Costa Mesa Television at cmtv@costamesaca.gov for details. So now, please join me in standing for our national anthem and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Councilmember Jeffrey Harlan.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please remain standing and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Madison and Councilmember Harlan. So now it's time for a moment of solemn expression, led by Pastor Christine Knopf from Redemption Church. Miss Green, do we have her on the Zoom? Please take her off mute so Pastor Knopf can lead us in a moment of solemn expression.
Good evening, council, neighbors, and city staff. I'm glad to be with you. I just want to invite us all into a moment of quiet breathing, of just as we're coming in from work or maybe a busy day, traffic. I know some of you have been coming in from other meetings. Just invite us to take a minute. I'll keep the time of just centering ourselves in quiet breathing. Let's listen to ourselves, to the divine for a minute. as we go into this time of planning and discussing and figuring things out as a community, I want to read this encouragement from the teaching of Jesus over our city. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet their heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all of his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For many run after all of these things, and their heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Thanks for this opportunity just to remind us that there is enough, and abundance will catch us. Provision is available. I hope that is an encouragement to you as you start your deliberations this evening.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Knopf. I'm a little bit very, very relaxed right now. So, City Clerk, will you please do the voice roll call? Or we don't have to do voice, right?
Yes, let the record reflect that all council members are present.
All right. Thank you. Good work. Okay, we have, let's ramp up the energy here a little bit. We have two presentations tonight. One is for the great basketball team of the Costa Mesa High School Mustangs. Let's give it up for the Costa Mesa High School Mustangs. Boys, I've been following Costa Mesa High School basketball for many, many years, and they've had some really good seasons. They've had a couple seasons where they went 17-10, and they even won some league championships. But they always seem to lose in the first round of CIF. And I think maybe we have an example of a team in the last few years that has won one game in CIF, but then lost in the second round. But this team, council, and members of the public, not only won their first round game, their second round game, but they played in the CIF championship. That's never happened, to my knowledge, in Costa Mesa High School basketball history. So again, let's give it up for the boys. But there's more. So they lost to right here close to us. Maybe it's even in Costa Mesa. I should know this. At Calvary Chapel, they lost to Calvary Chapel in the final game. But by virtue of coming in second place in CIF, they got to play in the state tournament. And they won a round in the state tournament. And I can guarantee you that has never happened before. Great accomplishment by a great team and a great coach. So what we're going to see now, we're going to have a clip package, and then we're going to bring Coach Mercado up, and we have some certificates for you boys, and then we're going to take a picture with the entire council. Okay? So let's roll the clip piece. right, that's pretty awesome. So now we're going to hand out some certificates. Coach Jesse Mercado is going to come on up, and then he'll introduce each one of you. We've got the certificates up there. And Coach Mercado, he came to Costa Mesa from Jay Serra. So he's a top-notch coach, as he proved, and we're very lucky to have you in the community. So come on up. This is the big proclamation, Coach, and so it says the City Council of Costa Mesa recognizes and congratulates the Costa Mesa High School boys varsity basketball team and its coaches on advancing to the CIF Southern Section Finals. The city is proud to be represented by these outstanding athletes and remarkable young leaders who serve as role models, inspiring other students to reach their potential. So there's that. And then here's for the coaches, and then each one of the players. We can call them up.
I'll put this here for now.
Do you want to say a few words before you call the boys up?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, right into it.
First of all, thank you, Mayor Stevens and the City Council. We appreciate you guys having us. On behalf of my team and my staff and all of our parents, we're very grateful for this opportunity. For me, it's been a wild ride. I'm just kind of reliving through that video, brought back memories that we just lived a couple months ago. So thank you guys for that. And also, again, it's just a privilege to be here and let the boys be recognized for the hard work and their dedication to what they love doing. So thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. Christian Daska, come on up.
Why don't you guys go like over there, and we'll take a picture.
You guys can line up. We have a couple guys who are on vacation and a couple that.
That's all good.
Too. Josh Gellingham, come on up. Dylan Matien, come on up. Aiden Ogo. Oh, careful there, buddy. Need your next season. Treat fam. Gio Cuero. Jordan Stuckett. Riley Weinstein.
Let's take a picture.
And also want to
yeah,
say thank you to my assistant coach, Chris Jolivet.
All right, so we have one other proclamation. It's the Parks Make Life Better proclamation. And we're very honored to have, to accept this proclamation, one of the best Costa Mesans around, Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission Chair, Charlene Ashendorf. And she's here to accept the proclamation, but let me tell you a little bit about what it is all about. The Parks Make Life Better resolution recognizes the importance of access to local parks, open spaces, and facilities throughout California. Costa Mesa clearly values its parks, as we have 33 of them that promote physical, emotional, and mental health wellness through organized or self-directed fitness, play, and activity. Here in Costa Mesa, we are proud to be stewards of our natural resources by protecting habitats and open spaces, connecting people to nature, and promoting the ecological function of parkland. I encourage all Costa Mesa residents and visitors to use and enjoy Costa Mesa's parks, trails, open spaces, facilities, and recreational opportunities as we officially declare July as Parks Make Life Better Month. All right, so Chair Ashendorf will I'll give you the proclamation and we can do a photo op. With the count. Oh yeah, of course, say a few words. I'm sorry. You say a few words, then we'll do the proclamation.
Thank you very much, Mayor and City Council members. I am not as eloquent a speaker as any of you, but I am the poet, and I have written this afternoon. You say in Costa Mesa, there's nothing to do. Our parks make life better. This much is true. Parks for dogs and parks with geese. Parks for skateboarders, parks for peace. Parks with trains doing the locomotion. Parks with views of the ocean. Parks for soccer to kick the ball around. Parks for blankets for picnics on the ground. Pocket parks and parks for tots, roughly 400 acres. Now we've got a lot. Community gardens, fields and trees, canyons, natural habitats, and protected species. Parks for all ages and abilities, and for basketball, baseball, and pickleball, please. Parks for concerts, parks for art, parks with benches for the young at heart. Parks for walking, soaring, or hiking. Hop on a plane or do some biking. Parks for sand court, volleyball. Parks with a lake and waterfalls. Parks, we've got over 32. Our parks make life better. That's certainly true.
All right. We'll Photoshop the proclamation in later. Come on out. Let's hear it.
It's going to be a long, wide proclamation.
right, thank you very much, Chair Ashendorf, for the poetry. So, pretty good. We're doing well in terms of time. We made it to public comments. So, public comments, we have two choices. You could either come and do your public comments at the podiums. There, you have 3 minutes, no more than 3 minutes. Actually, the mic stops at 3 minutes. So, you know, if you could keep it less than that, that'd be cool. And then once we're done with everybody who's here, if there are people on Zoom that want to do public comments, they can do that. They just need to either do the hand raise function or *9 on their phone. And if they're and if they have the phone, then when we call on you and City Clerk Brenda will call on you, Ms. Green, you have to put *6, and then you'll be ready to go. So does anybody want to speak inside the chambers for public comment? And try to line up on both sides if there's multiple people. Okay. Ready? Yes, you've got the floor.
Is it ready? Oh, yes. I was
Yes.
waiting for it to turn green for some reason. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Henny Abraham. I just wanted to make a quick comment regarding the State of the City luncheon that we had with Chamber last Thursday. As you all know, I'm an ambassador with the Chamber, so it was a huge success for us to put it together and to see it be such a great event. The one thing that I'm asking you, and please consider this because a lot of us ambassadors, we talked about this, consider holding a town hall that's not going to cost $100 to $125 for people to attend and have another State of the City for them. A lot of residents wanted to come, but they simply could not afford the price. So either have one at the senior center maybe, and you know, just a casual town hall that they can attend on the weekend. I know you guys are busy, but the residents deserve it. As Mayor Stevens put it, we couldn't have gotten through last year without the cooperation and the community of us, the residents, and the support that they showed to each other. So please consider that. We can always do it in districts too. So maybe hold one weekend, and us from the Chamber will be more than happy to help you coordinate that. So just something to consider. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, yes, ma'am. You've got the floor.
Hi. So my name is Lauren Noodleman, and I wanted to say that you guys did an awesome job at the park. We had a blast. And Madison had a blast at the park, and we went on all of the stuff. We were there for like 6 hours, and we had so much fun. But I also wanted to say, I'm not really a good public speaker, so this, for me to even be up here to talk, it means these people mean a lot to me. Officer Clements and Stacy Boyd, 6 years ago, I was homeless walking on the street, and Officer Clements came up to me. It was like 4 o'clock, and he connected me with Stacy Floyd, and they got me into housing. And you know, almost 6 years later, I just really want Costa Mesa to know that these acts of kindness and these small little things, it's a ripple effect. And I don't know what the future is going to bring. I don't know how many lives I'm going to save. I don't know what I'm going to do in my life. But had I not have walked down that road I've walked down to even be in a position to meet Officer Clements, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm going to do, which I don't know what that is yet, but I'm not worried about it. I am so grateful for these two people, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful. All right.
Good evening.
Yeah, ma'am, you have the floor.
I want to ask a question regarding the approval of One Metro West, not having to do with what's on the agenda earlier. I want to ask the procedure for putting it on the ballot, when we're going to find out the date and the time. I also like to know who's going to be writing the the forward and the pro and con regarding the issue that's on the ballot. And then I'd also like to remind the council that 70% of the voters in the city of Costa Mesa voted yes on why. So hopefully it's going to be a very straightforward process for the people to vote on this. I trust the voter, and I hope that One Metro West, as well as the council, trusts the voters as well. And then I'd like to also comment on the state of the city that was held earlier. I agree with the speaker that said, you know, the city residents should have had the first bite of the state of the city, not the Chamber of Commerce at $125 a plate meal. It was very disheartening not to be able to attend, and actually not to be able to attend because I don't want to support where that money's going to go. And I think the city owes us that much to give the residents and acknowledge what's happened in the city in the last year and a half, because it's been horrendous nationwide. And I think that the residents have done an incredible job. You've done a good job on certain issues as well. But I think we should have had the first bite of that state of the city, because we, the residents, are the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you. I want to just echo what Mary said. I could pretty much say ditto, because those were the same things that I was going to talk about. I have a lot of concern about One Metro West going forward and how it was all handled, and that Measure Y be protected. I'm a little nervous about that because of little rumblings that I've heard about people wanting to change Measure Y. This was something that was voted on by a large margin, a good majority of the people of Costa Mesa. And I don't think that they were so dumb that they didn't know what they were voting on. And so I kind of bristle at the idea that somebody might think they know better than the people of Costa Mesa knew and try to rewrite the thing and massage it and make it easier for developers to do things that the people wouldn't want without a vote. So that's my 2 cents for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sir, you have the floor.
Hi there, I'm Dale Luther. It's hard to see behind the mask.
Hi, Dale.
Good to see everybody. I enjoyed the park as a big kid. I got there early and got a picture with the plane and posted on Facebook and letting people know about the things we have here in Costa Mesa. Thank you, City Council and Mayor Stevens, for putting that together. It's good to reconnect with everybody on Saturday. I wanted to bring up just something real quick as it pertains to District 2, which I live in District 2. I've talked with Lauren before as well. I know there's a consideration where it may open up allowing someone that's within the city to be considered for the Planning Commission seat. And I really want to speak on behalf of my district and City of Costa Mesa. I really want it to be someone that's within our district.
Hold on one second. I'm going to stop you, because that's definitely on our agenda. It's new business item number 1.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about that specific topic, it won't take long. We're going to get through the agenda, but can you hold your comments on?
Sure, I didn't know if I should do it now or.
Okay. Yeah, this is for, and I don't think I was clear about that. That's why I say this public comment is for things that are not on the agenda.
Okay, thank
and
you.
I
didn't want to miss that opportunity and go, the plane flew by and Dale's like, you know. So,
yeah, no,
okay.
It's totally understandable. Now, we paused your time. Do you have other stuff you want to talk about?
No, just that.
Good.
I'll come back. Thank you.
Yeah, come back and you get a whole nother 3 minutes and you could talk about that. New business item number 1.
Okay.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Yes, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Vuksovich, and frankly, this is just kind of an introduction. I am a longtime Costa Mesa resident. I've been at college for 4 years, joined the military halfway through, so 5 years. And I just want to say there's nothing that I care about more than local government. I was very involved with my local government in college. And so now that I'm back here in Costa Mesa, I just want to share that I deeply care about homelessness and treating the houseless justly and fairly and, with kindness and love. I care about bikeability in this city and sustainable infrastructure and architecture that brings people together in a sustainable way. I care about transit, I care about buses, I care about trains, I care about all of that. I care about affordable housing That's really important to me, and I care about parks too. And yeah, so that's the introduction to me, and I look forward to keeping you all accountable on those issues. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing yourself. Okay, looks like we have one more public commenter in the chambers. Sir, you have the floor.
Good evening, council members. It's been a long year coming. It's a pleasure to see you all and be in your presence. One quick comment. Parks. I love the poem the lady wrote. I think you guys should probably adopt it and put it on the plaque somewhere. I think it would be just right. But the dog parks, park is singular. This past year and a half with the pandemic, there's been a lot of construction going on. As part of construction goes, we need more open space. There's funding coming in for that. But our dog park, beloved dog park, has not been fully renovated yet. And perhaps we should look at maybe making another dog park, because there is a lot of people in Costa Mesa who have multiple dogs. And I think, being a longtime Costa Mesa member, citizen since '89, things tend to take quite a while. So if you guys can upscale this thing on your agendas and find some money, you're always able to find money. If we can bring that up, that'd be great. And if we can renovate the dog park, that'd be even better. Thank you and welcome back. Thanks.
Thank you. Welcome back. Okay, it doesn't look like we have anybody else for public comment in the chambers. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody on Zoom that wishes to do public comment?
Yes, we do. We have one person, and that is Stephanie Wenning. If you unmute yourself, you may speak.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Mayor Stevens, Mayor Pro Tem, Mar, and members of the City Council. Hello again. I was here in June. My name is Stephanie Winning, and I'm a member of the Cultural Arts Committee. I'm a resident of Costa Mesa with a passion for the ability of the arts to promote our community's vitality. First and foremost, on behalf of the Cultural Arts Committee, I wish to thank each of you for your support in establishing the job classification of arts specialists for our city. This is a huge step forward in accomplishing many of our goals, such as increasing our grant program funding, expanding our utility box program, creating and implementing a public art policy, updating and improving our artist directory, and handling logistics for Art Venture. Having a staff member who's devoted to the mission of enhancing, promoting, and supporting our rich artistic community here in the City of the Arts will be invaluable. Brief and important updates on our work include the due date for our current grant cycle is this Friday, that's July 23rd. We have installed 7 new utility box art wraps with 1 more in production since February of this year. Our artist directory is currently being updated online. Plans for the next cycle of our gallery exhibits are well on their way, with work going up this month as well as in September. More work is being done to implement our newly approved Arts and Culture Master Plan, and Art Venture 2021 continues to be coordinated. So please plan to attend this event on Saturday, November 13th at Segerstrom Center for the Arts, as it is one of our main forms of fundraising. Again, thank you all for your continued encouragement of the Cultural Arts Committee's work here in Costa Mesa, the City of the Arts.
Thank you very much. Do we have anybody else on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Mayor, we do not.
Okay. We'll close public comment then and go on to council member committee reports, comments, and suggestions. And batting leadoff today in our lineup is Council Member Gameros from District 2.
Thank you. I just have a few things I would like to speak about. You know, the 4th of July came and went, and I think most of us made it through okay with most of our hearing, and at least one lung survived the acrid smoke. So what I want to say is I want to thank our fire department. I want to thank our police department. I want to thank our staff and the city for really putting it out there. I know that we had a huge amount of outreach, and I know that a lot of people were working really hard to make this a safer community for everybody. I know it was pretty loud and there was still a lot going on, but we do care and we are doing something, and I know that I see the effort being put forth. So I just wanted to take a brief moment and thank them personally, and hopefully next year we can take one more strive for a little bit safer and a little bit easier 4th of July on everybody, and maybe we can do something fun for the whole community. Thank you.
All right, wonderful, great comments. Now let's go to the east side of Costa Mesa, District 6, Jeffrey Harlan. If you want to speak, request to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Stevens. Good evening, Costa Mesa. It's great to be back in chambers again. I'm still kind of getting used to having all of these familiar faces back here. I don't know about you, but I'm a little tired, and in a good way. I think last week was exhausting and exhilarating. As you heard, we had a State of the City on Thursday at the Segerstrom Center. On Friday, we had opening of the fairgrounds. OC Fair is up and running, and it's great to have that back. And Saturday, we had our ribbon cutting for the Norma Herzog Community Center, as well as Lions Park. And it's just a tremendous amount of work that has gone in and is paying off for the whole community. So I want to thank staff, especially all the community members who were involved in all of those endeavors. And as much as I'd like a little break, we're not done yet. We have Chargers Training Camp is opening July 28th. And then an event that's near and dear to my heart as a former member of the Costa Mesa Foundation. We have our concert in the park back at Fairview Park on July 31st. So it's going to be a great summer in Costa Mesa. I'm very excited about it. I'm going to try and pace myself here. But we also have plenty of work that's going on with our housing element, our pedestrian master plan. It's never ending. So buckle up. It's going to be fun.
All right, wonderful. Next up, from District 1, Councilmember Harper. If you wish to say something, you have to request to speak, and I'll call on you. You got it?
Appreciate it.
Way to go.
I've mentioned before the Slammers soccer organization, and the owner of the Slammers is a longtime resident in my district. His name is Waleed Corey, and they have more national championships in the last 20 years than any other soccer organization. And this last weekend, there's 5 different levels of national championships from U13 to U18. And they were able to take 4 teams to the national championship games, and they won 2 national championships, a second and a third. So I just wanted to recognize them, and longtime member of our community, and they offer a great sports alternative and a club for people all over Orange County. And with regard to the July 4th, I know we talked a lot, and I talked to Mayor Stevens about this, trying to kind of curb the enthusiasm of July 4th. And after this year, I think it's controlled chaos. And I do appreciate what the fire and police do. And I think we just need to embrace it and make it as safe as possible. Go out and enjoy it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, from District 5, Councilmember Arliss Reynolds.
Great, thank you. I just have to comment first that I do think the logic of the green light does make a lot of sense. I never thought of that before tonight, and my mind is blown. So I found myself through public comment and council member comments so far just sort of filling with joy and thinking about Pastor Nolf's comment about abundance. I'm just joyful at the comments we heard about town halls and dog parks and soccer games and open space. I just love affordable housing, the conversations that we're having here on our council, and having such a great staff to be able to work through many of these challenges and opportunities. So we are definitely an abundant city, and I want to thank the pastor for that reminder. State of the City event was fantastic. I think I heard that was recorded, so there is an opportunity for folks to listen in on that. But I also do love the idea of a sort of annual public, free State of the City event. I know I'm planning to do some local town halls now that we're able to be out in the open again. So I look forward to that. I hope others do as well. I wanted to run through a few updates, a committee report. So we had our district liaison committee, I think this past Friday. A couple notable items from that is that the sanitary district and our own public services team are going to be doing a pretty big project on Wilson Street. It's almost the entire length of Wilson Street, I believe, between the 55 and, is it Harbor? Almost a year-long project that's going to have significant impacts on Wilson Street. So that's the border of our districts. Definitely want to, there's a good plan for public outreach on that project. I am interested in thinking about how we mitigate traffic through the neighborhoods as people are trying to avoid that construction. I believe the schedule for that project essentially matches up with the school year. So big one to watch out for. I think a lot of people in the city are going to be impacted by that. Also, one of the conversations at that district meeting was a discussion about the city team, community, and the school district working more closely together on field use, both for organized sports and open play, as a part of increasing access to open space in the city, and also working more closely together on safe routes to schools initiatives, from walking and biking to school events, and just sort of a more sustained focus on safe streets around schools in particular. I get a lot of questions about the parking study and parking issues, so I'll ask the city manager to just give a quick update on where the parking study is and kind of timing for when we're going to get recommendations on that. We heard a comment today on bus stops, and that's something I was thinking about on the way here. I live on the breezy west side, so every time I come to City Hall, I realize, oh my gosh, it's actually really hot in the city. And I saw several bus stops that did not have seating, where people were waiting, standing in the sun. Also several bus stops where people had a seat but no shade. So that's something I'll bring up at our strategic planning meeting, and something I think that I'd love for staff to look into some solutions for. A couple quick things. So yes, really looking forward to Saturday, July 31st for our concerts in the park, and I'm very excited about a project. Can I say it? Okay, an active transportation project that I think may be a first time, certainly innovative. We're doing a pop-up bike lane on that day to facilitate safe walking, biking, skating, scooting, however you want to move outside a car. I think that's going to be a really exciting event, and we know and we hope lots of people descend on the park for that. Really excited about that pop-up lane on Placentia, and thank you, staff, for coming up with some really good ideas on that. Lastly, or second to last, always one more. July 27th is our pedestrian master plan update, public virtual meeting on Wednesday, July 27th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. And then the last item, I wanted to give an update on Banning Ranch. This is a project that's been very near and dear to my heart, really how I got involved in local politics, and a really exciting development since we met last. Banning Ranch, as many of you know, is a 400-acre, right now privately owned open space right along the Santa Ana River. There's been a decades-long fight to try to secure Banning Ranch as open space for the public, and there's been some really significant positive step forward on that. And the most recent step forward is that an agency called the Trust for Public Land has been negotiating a deal with the owners, the current owners of Banning Ranch, to basically transfer ownership of that land from private hands into public hands for sort of in perpetuity open space at Banning Ranch. So this is a huge opportunity for our community to have not only access to open space, but lots of additional recreation and access to the ocean. The latest development is that the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority is a public agency with excellent experience in this type of project. They have agreed to be sort of title owner. And so that's a sort of the last checkbox folks needed to help with this transfer of land. We're still several years away from this being an open park, but a really positive development, and I'm certainly plugged in and will continue to give council updates on that. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So next up is from District 4, Councilmember Manuel Chavez. Oh, sorry. Whoops. There you go.
No worries. Thank you, Mayor Stevens, and thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. Happy summer. So very brief today, just 4 points. First point, fireworks. We had a great 4th of July, but in my district, there's still fireworks going off. Heard a few today, middle of the day. So just pointing out for PD and fire that we have people that are still lighting fireworks, usually the big mortars in my district, just to put a flag on that. Second thing, pickleball. A lot of community people have talked to me about pickleball and the lack of courts in Costa Mesa. I know we had a really vibrant community member come before COVID, and since then, it seemed to have grown exponentially during COVID. And I just want to point out that I believe Blerick Park has some empty blacktops that could be used for pickleball courts, in case you want to look at that. Just putting that out there for staffs to think about. Alongside that, more to think about, public broadband. So 2 of our neighboring cities, Irvine and Huntington Beach, are looking at creating public broadband to lower the cost of internet for low-income communities, for businesses, and to create more of capitalistic measures and promote free market to make sure there's not a monopoly on internet in our community. I don't know how feasible it is for Costa Mesa to move forward with this project, but seeing that 2 of our neighboring cities are doing it, I think it'd be smart for us to look for that as well. So hopefully someone else in the dais agrees with me on that, and we can move forward with that. Finally, I had a great meeting with Strut Bar in my district regarding sound improvements. They're going to be moving forward with doing a new sound wall at the back of their facility as a way to curb the noise we've been hearing for the past couple meetings. So I just want to thank them for being proactive and doing their best to ensure that quality of life for residents behind them. Other than that, everyone, thank you again for being here today and taking a nice summer evening off to be with us, and hope you guys enjoyed the meeting today. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Chavez. Now we're going to hear from Mayor Pro Tem Mar from District 3.
Thank you, Mayor Stevens. I didn't realize my comments were all going to be art-focused tonight, but I loved Ms. Ashendorf's poem. I'd love to find a way for us to get that framed or displayed or, okay, Dane's like, I'm already on it. Awesome. Also, I don't know how many of you noticed, but the mural in the Bark Park was refreshed recently. That was a really amazing collaboration between artists from a couple of different cities that came to help repaint the Josh Madrid mural. So they were able to get through one side of it just in time to put anti-graffiti spray on it before I think it was tagged again. But that I love that mural, and it's funny watching a lot of the Travel Costa Mesa ads feature it. It's clearly a big part of the community, and I'm so glad that there are artists who are willing to, in some cases, volunteer their time to help keep it looking fresh. I've also heard a rumor that we might be cleaning up the mural by the Corp Yard, so that's pretty exciting stuff. Maybe Ms. Wending from the Cultural Arts Committee can give us an update on that soon. And then I don't know if anyone saw this post on Facebook, but now the Cultural Arts Committee has gotten through 54 utility boxes around town, which is just incredible, like 54. So that program started before I was even on the Cultural Arts Committee, 8 years ago, and it's amazing to see what it's blossomed into. We, during the State of the City address, all of the council members had an opportunity to talk to a few things that they're especially proud of or that they thought the community should hear about. I talked about the food distributions, and then I also shared some of our sustainability accomplishments. And I don't think this fact has been thrown out quite enough, so I wanted to share it tonight, that because of the relamping of the streetlights that we've done in partnership with Edison, we've saved $80,000 a year in utility costs. So I know when we initially hired a sustainability manager, there was some skepticism about, is that position really going to pay for itself? Like, there's no way. 80K says otherwise. So happy about that. And then Saturday, just a huge thank you to staff, from the cool t-shirts to the food to the flowers. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, opening the Norma Herzog Community Center and Lions Park Playground. And I think I couldn't wipe the smile off my face for like 2 days afterwards. I think it was my favorite day as a council member, just seeing kids actually clamoring to play on that playground equipment, and us being able to celebrate with council members who, had served long before me. I had the pleasure of sitting next to Arlene Schaefer and Mary Hornbuckle, and seeing them identify people in the black and white photos that we flashed up in the video was just like the sweetest, most heartwarming thing ever. So that's it. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you. Okay, so now for my part, I have a few things to say. First of all, regarding the state of the city and the events on Saturday, again, I want to echo just what in my notes was just what Mayor Pro Tem Mar just said. It is an incredible commitment by staff to put on events like this. Not only the staff of the city, but also the staff of the volunteers and the ambassadors for the chamber, for the state of the city. So thank you very much for that. And of course, that was just the culmination and all of the work that's gone on since well before I was on council to bring forth the Lions Park project. It was the largest, and Raja was there from the beginning to the end. And thank you, Raja, to recognize you again. I mean, it was going on well before I was a council member in 2016. It was the first thing I got briefed on, and by that time it was well underway. So a project like that takes years and years, and many councils to agree, many planning commissions and parks commissions to agree on that project. So thank you. Former council member Lise is here. She voted on that project, so thank you. Everybody in the community participated. Regarding the state of the city, hey, I'm happy to do it again. It was fun the first time, and we could do it at the Norma Herzog Center. So I think that's a terrific idea. In addition to that, as Councilmember Reynolds brought up, that speech was videotaped, and that speech and the speeches of the council members were videotaped, and they are on CMTV. They replay, but it's good to do them live. We've had some a couple months ago, we recognized Little League's opening day. I'm proud to say our Little League, first time we've ever had a united Little League, Costa Mesa Little League, had tremendous success. Our All-Stars have never won a district championship in District 62. This year, our Little Leagues won 3 out of 4 divisions, and they're still playing. There's 2 teams right now that are playing tonight in doubleheaders to win the sectionals and go on to the state championship. So our 2 teams, all-star teams, are among the top 2 teams in this whole section, which includes all of Orange County and Little League. So you can bet that they'll be here celebrating in the near future. And then the other team, which is the youngest team, they're called the Superstars, they have to play tonight, and if they win an elimination game tonight, they'll go on to play tomorrow. Pickleball. So Manuel Chavez here, Councilmember Chavez, he buried the lead because I'm going to be playing in a match against Katrina Foley's team at 9 o'clock on Saturday, pickleball at Estancia. They're having a big tournament, and I hear that Manuel Chavez is on Katrina's team. Is that true?
No comment.
Oh, all right, well, we'll see how that works out. As to One Metro West, a really good question was asked. Let me answer that question. Here, and this is in our staff report, CC7. So here's just really quickly, go down the chronology. This is what's going to happen. June 7th, if it goes forward, obviously it's in the calendar today, but June 7th, 2022, the council does a call for the election. June 17th, 2022 is the filing of direct arguments and an impartial analysis by the city clerk. June 27th, 2022, last day to file rebuttal arguments with the city clerk. August 12th, 2022, last day for the city clerk to submit the ballot, title, and summary to the registrar of voters. August 22nd, 2022, last day for filing of rebuttal arguments with the registrar of voters. The first one, by the way, was opposition, not rebuttal. That's what it should have said. And then, of course, November 8th, 2022 is election day. And then it goes on to just the certifications and what happens if there's 51%. So that's on page 3 of the staff report. And then, of course, as many have mentioned, concert in the park. It's Costa Mesa Palooza on July 31st, we start at 1 o'clock. There are 3 bands. There's a mariachi band, then there's a country band, and then the great Tijuana Dogs are playing. There will be a lot of stuff for everybody, so come there to Fairview Park. You'll have a great time, and we definitely deserve that. So let's have some fun on July 31st. That is all I have to say. City Manager, you have the floor for your report.
Thank you, Mayor Stevens. Good evening, everyone. Just had a couple of items to update you all on. First, I agree we had a great week last week. It was definitely good to get back out and participate in such a beautiful event as the State of the City. I think it's also a great idea to hold one for the public, and so we can get working on that. I'm very excited to have the opportunity to accept the award on the city's behalf that we received from the Costa Mesa Chamber of Commerce, which was the Pillar of the Community Award, recognizing the city for its leadership during the past year as we addressed the COVID pandemic, and also were able to achieve many firsts and complete many important projects for the City Council and for the community last year. So it was wonderful to receive that acknowledgement. I wanted to thank the staff that was involved in, obviously, the Norma Herzog ribbon cutting and our Lions Park playground unveiling, if you will. It's an amazing playground. If you haven't been, even if you're an adult, you must go. The amenities are just amazing, and I think for most folks, you might be able to enjoy a couple of new features, and it's just a lot of fun. I found myself playing in the playground as well, even at my age, and so it's a great opportunity to get out, bring the little ones, and just have them enjoy what is an amazing and beautiful park and beautifully refurbished airplane. So we're really thankful about that. I wanted to thank Alma Reyes again, and the staff of the city manager's office, Dane, Tony, Hadassah, Lydian, Francine, Janet, Evis, Ruth from our HR department, and Cosima, because they're the ones who are responsible for all the wonderful small details, the notes that we're sending to Norma, getting her on the laptop so that we could all listen to her from where she was in New Jersey. Just thanking all of us for this acknowledgement. It was probably the highlight for me. I got very choked up just listening to her. And of course, all of the T-shirts, everything was just fantastic. So thank you for that. I'm glad that we had a chance to share that with the community. And Alma's son, Evan, was handing out the ice cream and got confused as being the ice cream man, but he was for the day, so that was fun, and just had such a great time. There were kids that were still trying to get into the community center as we were closing, like at 3. They were so excited to be there, so that was a lot of fun. And again, congratulations, Raja, and your team for a great project, on time, on budget. And Jason Minter, I know you're looking forward to lots of great amenities at our new facilities. We are also wanting to give you an update on the parking study. I think Raja can fill you in on some details on that, and I'll turn to him in a moment. But I also wanted to mention that the Smart and Final report and that study will be presented at the next meeting. And so we'll be able to share the results from the study that we conducted in August. And so Raja, will you go over some of the basics in terms of where we are on the parking study and next steps?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Mayor and members of City Council. So the parking study is in progress. We had 2 community meetings on that. The consultant right now is preparing a draft set of recommendations for our considerations, and we'll be reviewing that internally with the consultant in August. We plan to bring it to you for your discussion at your study session in September. So that's the schedule for that at this point. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. And then I just had one final thing. We did open City Hall to the public on July 12th, and after 16 months of closure, basically to keep everyone safe. But as part of the reopening, we have a very exciting new appointment system that we wanted to share with all of you. And so we have staff here that will do a quick demo for the council, but also for the community, so you can see the online tools that we've created, and also kiosks here at City Hall in the lobby area for you to be able to schedule an appointment with a city department. All city departments are using this system with the exception of just a few. And so we're really excited about this Wait While app. and its new features. It also has a waiting list as well, so that we can get everyone back in a way that's organized and expedient. And so I'll invite our IT director, Steve Ely, and then also Lily Lorenzana to provide you a quick demo on our Wait Well app.
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening, Mayor Stevens and council members. My name is Lily Lorenzana from the IT department, and I would like to take a few minutes to show you a new online system that my department helped to implement at City Hall to make visits to public-facing counters more convenient. We have incorporated the Wait Well online booking and queuing system, an online application that is accessible from computers and mobile devices connected to a network. Staff from departments spent many weeks learning and setting up the information on the system to allow for customers to book appointments online or walk in to be added to a virtual queue with ease. It's fast and simple, and as mentioned, guests can book remotely online. The kiosks have been set up for those who do not have appointments, need assistance booking them, or to join a virtual queue. Our public-facing counters have very limited space for waiting, and this system eliminates in-person wait times and reduces the number of guests in City Hall. Not to mention, allow customers to wait anywhere because staff can communicate directly via messaging. The system also has built-in analytics, which provides data and statistics to help manage staffing and workload. Guests can visit the city's website or use the My Costa Mesa app on their phones to book appointments for services such as park reservations, building permits, or to make payments. Here you will see how appointments are easily booked on a mobile phone. Starting with the city's website, click on the Schedule an Appointment link. Then scroll down to select the desired division or department. Once the department or division is selected, click Schedule Appointment. The next page will show a list of services and the information populated by staff for the public in the event that guests are unsure of which service they need. After scrolling down to select the desired service, click on the available date and time, and then enter contact information and click Confirm. For guests without appointments, they can walk in and be added to the wait list. They'll start at the kiosk and use the iPad provided to scroll down and select the department they wish to see. Once selected, click Join Waitlist, and walk-in guests will see the same list of services available for appointments. If they're still unsure of what type of service they need, each of our public counters have a General Questions tab that guests can select from. Once the service is selected and contact information have been entered, guests will click Confirm to be added to the wait list. After scheduling an appointment or signing up for the wait list, guests will receive a confirmation text and/or email to confirm the appointment or place in line. Additionally, guests can send direct messages and reply to department staff along with the ability to modify or cancel their appointments from the app. While convenient for customers, it is also convenient for staff. Here are screenshots of some of the analytics available to staff for monitoring workload. It provides statistics on the number of appointments made, guests served, service and wait times, along with other pertinent information to help manage workload and future appointments. The main objective with WaitWell is not to replace customer service, but to enhance the customer service Costa Mesa has been providing. Our concierge staff members have reported that customers are providing positive feedback with their experience at City Hall using WaitWell. Some guests have expressed that they like the appointment system because they can schedule their visits in advance. Others without appointments like the ability to see their spot in line and communicate directly with staff so they are not tied to a waiting area. Overall, guests appreciate the reduced wait times, the communication features, and found the whole booking and queuing process very efficient. Thank you very much for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great job. Council, if you have questions, you could just ask for the the mic. I don't see anybody, but thank you very much. Great job. And thank you, City Manager, for implementing this. Do you have anything else in your report? All right, wonderful. Let's hear from our City Attorney, Ms. Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to remind the council members that the oral argument before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in the Yellowstone matter will be the 26th of July, next week. I can send you the information so that you can view the oral argument. If you're interested in doing that, I'd be happy to share it with all of you. I did view a moot court today. I thought it went well, and I'm looking forward to seeing the argument as well. And finally, I want to address an item on the agenda, new business item number 1. I saw some of the public comment, and I have to say first mea culpa and secondly apologies to the mayor and to the council. Any member of the public who thought that the mayor was trying to eliminate any residency or other requirements from our council policies is incorrect. I simply used the 2011 version of the council policy instead of the 2012 version when I drafted my amendment, which inadvertently omitted one provision. So that's been put back in, and it was sent out as a supplemental with an amendment, and that's the item that will be considered as part of new business item number 1 this evening. And so I just want to make sure everybody's clear that that was my error, not the mayor's request or staff's request. So that's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Hey, so I've got a question. Can we put on the website so the public can listen to that oral argument? Can we put something up on that so that anybody want, because that's a public thing.
Yeah, it is live streaming, so if the city manager wants to have staff put it up, I can certainly get the information to her.
All right. Well, we'll see. So check the website, and you may be able to have a link, and that's on Monday at approximately 10 o'clock in the Ninth Circuit. So it's a pretty important oral argument. Okay, good. We made it. Let's go to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of any of these items unless members of the public or the city council or staff request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar for discussion. City clerk, are there any requests from the public, staff, or council to remove any consent calendar item?
Mr. Mayor, I have one request from the public from Robin Leffler for item number 7.
Okay, we have, and former council member Lease also asked for 7. Other than 7, do we have anything else? Okay, it's just 7. So, Councilmember Harlan, do you wish to move the balance? Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to pull any others?
The public request number 11.
7-11. That's my anniversary. Okay. So, other than 7 and 11, Councilmember Harlan, you want to move the rest? Oh, I'm sorry. I got to give you the floor. Go ahead.
I do want to move the balance, and I also do want to note I need to recuse myself from item 7 when that comes back for discussion.
Okay. So, noted. So there's a motion by council member. It says Chavez, but Harlan, and then.
I was supposed to be a second for Harlan.
Okay. Well, let's.
We'll fix that later. It's okay.
Can we say Harlan and then
Just
Chavez?
a minute. Let me clear the motions, please.
Okay.
Okay. I think you might be able to. Let's see. Try again. There we go.
Okay. Go. Councilmember Harlan. Go, Councilmember Chavez. Okay. The balance, other than 7 and 11, is moved by Councilmember Harlan and seconded by Councilmember Chavez. Let's call for the question or vote.
Councilmember Chavez and Councilmember Harper, could you please vote again? Thank you. The motion carries 7-0.
Wonderful. So now we're going to excuse Council Member Harlan and take up consent calendar item 7.
Thank you. This item is second reading and adoption of an ordinance to approve rezone R-20-01 to rezone a 15.23 acre site to plan development residential high density and establish a site-specific density of 80 dwelling units per acre. Also an ordinance to approve specific plan SP-20-01 and an ordinance to approve development agreement DA-20-02 between the City of Costa Mesa and International Asset Management Holding Group, LLC, for a mixed-use project located at 1683 Sunflower Avenue, 1 Metro West. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, this was pulled by members of the public, so why don't we open up public comment? Ma'am, you have the
Yes,
floor.
thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Social media has its good points. I had posted my concerns about 1 Metro West and Measure Y, and the mayor had some answers for me, but to continue the conversation, we had a field trip to Fairview Park a couple weeks ago and reiterated the concern to have an idea of the plans going forward and regarding the deadlines and the schedule for if this is on the ballot in 22. And I think it's a whole idea of transparency that we're getting back to. Because of COVID, the public hasn't always been aware of what's kind of going on behind the scenes. And as one of the people that walked and collected 7,000 signatures and then worked to pass Measure Y, I'm very concerned that this project would override the will of the people. So that being said, I hope that if there's any other information as far as from the developer going forward, if the developer decides to put this on the ballot, that we have a new schedule, if it's not on the November 22 election. But the other thing that concerns me is it would be helpful if we could have hard copy reports. I had to quickly download the staff report on this to get the details and on another item too. But I wish you would consider opposing 2 bills that are in Sacramento, SB 9 and SB 10. They take away local power by mandating the first one at 2 residential units on parcel zone for single family residential development. And the other one is being able to upzone any parcel for up to 10 units. There's other details too, but thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much. Okay, ma'am, you have the floor.
Robin Leffler, Costa Mesa resident for, 40 years. I'm going to use some strong language. No swear words, just very strong words. Why are you up there? Why are you up there on the City Council? 5 of you up there tonight are elected. 1 of you was appointed, not elected. But my understanding of a council position is that you are there to serve the public, to serve the people. Unfortunately, districting has brought about kind of a feeling of balkanization in Costa Mesa, but you're still a body, and it's still a whole city that you should be thinking of, not just your district. In particular, your district, yes, but the whole city. I was really surprised when all of you voted, all except for the council member from Mesa Verde, to approve the 1 Metro West development plan. I could see it coming, but I was shocked because every one of your neighborhoods has had their battles with development. The East Side, myriad applications by residents that were shot down by resident activists or negotiated to a more manageable and compatible size with the neighborhood. The West Side, all the condos that you see, they're the result of battles that refined and reduced the imprint of things that were going to be put on the West Side. And West Siders rose up in numbers to fight those things. There's all over the city. There are things like this that happen. College Park. There was a development for that medical building proposed down at the corner of, I think it's Harbor and Fair Drive. So this is something that just I didn't understand why you all endorsed this, knowing what your neighbor had been through. And I hope you really think about this. Every single neighborhood, mine in particular, has been through many, many fights. Mesa Verde, they wanted to put apartment buildings where a couple of the churches are on the corner of Baker and Mesa Verde Drive. They wanted to tear down several houses and build a number of units. Never really got off the ground, fortunately. And then where they did build new houses, they worked with the neighborhood to blend them into the neighborhood. One Metro West seems to want to do its own thing, and that's it. I mean, this is going to be on the ballot. I hope the city does not spend our taxpayer dollars to promote this, but because the city voted for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Sir, you have the floor. Oh, so hold on one second. Podium mic on.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'm looking at the timer. Okay. Hi, everyone. As I mentioned in the beginning, I'm back in Costa Mesa, so I'm just trying to get my head around things. But from what I understand about this project, I'm a big supporter, and I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm a big supporter of high-density housing. I wish there would actually be more low-income units or an affordable housing units in this, but I just wanted to voice support for this development. I think it would be really good for the city of Costa Mesa. I don't know about the minimum parking requirements on this, and I'm looking forward to learning about them because I'm sure I have critiques. But overall, I'm a supporter of this project. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you. I've never been a supporter of this project, and I do support low-income housing, but this to support almost 1,000 units for a very small amount of the low-income housing, we'd have to have 40,000 units to catch up with the 4,000 low-income housing that you need. So this project doesn't even come close to doing that. But the other issue that I have is the special attitudes and the special treatment that One Metro West has gotten with the city. And even at the city, State of the City, Brett Stoll was one of the speakers, I understand, so we'll be able to hear him on the city tape as well, I assume. And not only that, but at the backdrop, Rose Equities has one of the sponsors. And this has sort of permeated the whole thing, that it's sort of been forced down the people's throat. And my surprise at the passing of this, not was that you passed it, but that you asked so few questions on a project that was so huge. They had over 3,000 pages. The questioning should have gone on for a week because there's a lot. I call this Swiss cheese because there's so many holes, unanswered questions in this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak on this matter?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, John Hanna, please.
Mr. Hanna, you have the floor.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'd like to, John Hanna, the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters, 57-year resident of Orange County and former Costa Mesa resident. I want to commend the council for on their first vote approving this. And tonight I urge you to approve the rezoning ordinance, approve the specific plan applying zoning standards, and approve the development agreement for the One Metro West project. This is a quality project. The council's to be commended. I've spent a lot of time on this, and I know that a lot of questions have been asked by council members, and so I think you've been prudent on this. This will go to the voters, so the voters will have an opportunity. And I look forward to that campaign because this will be an opportunity for all the city to see the wonderful benefits that will occur from this. We're going to get affordable housing. We'll also get market rate and workforce housing, which there's a substantial need for that. And we'll have it in a part of the city that has minimal impact on the vast majority of residents in the city. And we'll get a skilled and trained workforce, at least in part, with the carpenters and hopefully a number of the other trades. And those people will mostly come from Costa Mesa and adjoining cities. This is going to cut down the emissions for construction workers who won't have to travel as far because we're going to prioritize local hire. And that means a cleaner environment, and it'll improve the quality, the environmental quality of the area. So again, commend the council for their oversight on this and for their vision on creating a great project and a better utilization for this space. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anybody else on Zoom?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'll close public comment, and I'm going to make a motion to approve, to adopt the recommendation set forth on page 1 of the staff report, those 3 bullet points. Mayor Pro Tem Mar.
Second.
Seconds. Okay. Does anybody, Councilmember Reynolds, you have a comment, so I'll give you the floor.
Oh, okay. I thought you guys would speak first. I actually just wanted well, I'll comment on a couple things. One is just the length of time we have been looking at this project. I was flipping through our website and do want to acknowledge that we do have a web page dedicated on our website to this project and sort of the sequence of lots of information in the sequence of events and votes and decision making related to this project. So that's a good resource for folks to look at to stay up to date with information. It looks like it hasn't been updated since April, so it would be great if we could update that to include the schedule that the mayor read earlier, because I know a lot of people in our community are interested in that schedule and sort of what happens next. I don't know who I'm looking at. So maybe city manager, if we could update the website with that schedule. But I know I've been asking and getting questions answered on this project as long as I've been a council member, which I think is coming on 3 years now. I think feels like 10. And I know we certainly took some votes on this project while we were in the senior center, so it has been in front of us for a long time. And you know, I think there's been a lot of good work in some of those iterations through both council and through the planning commission. So. I know that's why I didn't have a lot of questions on our last vote. I just wanted to also say that I do fully expect, my vote came with the expectation that this project goes in front of the voters. And as we heard from some of the speakers, I do think that there's a strong case to be made and encourage those who support to continue to make that case in the public. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Council Member Harper, you have the floor.
Oh, it's on. Thank you, Mayor Stevens. I was just going to quietly vote no today, but Robin, I'm Harper from Mesa Verde, just in case you don't know. And Mark, I have a banker box full of One Metro West stuff I'll loan you if you want to learn more about the project. I'm still recovering from going through it. So I wanted to mention the things that, and I don't want to seem like just the grumpy old conservative here on the council. So I want to mention all the good things about this project. You know, it's a developer project. It's a chance for a developer to earn money and create something. And believe it or not, in fact, I very much support that. And I've done development projects before, so I appreciate that. That's a positive. It's 1,050 rental units for renters. It's only 116 or 106, Jennifer Lee. 108, 106, right? We got into that last time. 106 low income, which I argued was too low. It's union jobs, and it's going to be union jobs. At the last meeting, half the facility was filled with union vests. I assume they're union workers or they just own union vests. So there's going to be union jobs and jobs. $6 million goes to the city to be used pretty much at their discretion. And again, I argued that it should have gone to infrastructure projects only. It supports the arena requirements that the state's forcing upon us, where we're supposed to build 11,760 dwelling units over the next 8 years, which is going to be, which is significant. And then, of course, the council, we have good relationships with the union and the developers. That promotes it. And then it's more business for the surrounding community. Those are all good things. And so, I recognize that and I understand it. And so for me, it was hard to say no, but I want to go through why I said no, and hopefully my fellow council members understand and appreciate what I'm about to say. But this is a change in the general plan and zoning. And a general plan where land planners and citizens defined a vision and went through a process and created a picture of a city. And I always like to respect that. And this project was never envisioned for that area. To further support that land planning that was done in 2016, 68% of the voters voted for Measure Y, which was really a comment and an inference that we want to be careful about high density projects and we want to vote. And so I know they were very concerned about that happening. I'm happy to see it in the agenda that there is a plan and there is a timeline to put it on the ballot in 2022. So I'm pleased to see that. Just a few weeks prior to the June 15 council meeting, 520 Costa Mesa residents signed a petition asking for a citizens advisory committee so they would ensure they had a voice. Now, I like to hear what the community wants to do. That's my job, is to listen to what the community wants. And whoever said it on the comments, that is my job. And I feel like I do my job, even though sometimes it's not pleasant. But I believe in doing that. So I wanted to hear that, but the council, and respectfully, a lot of the council members have been years looking at this project. I think years, that's correct. And I respect that. I haven't. And so I wanted to hear that. And by the way, on that petition, on that site, 96% of the comments were negative. They didn't like the project. It may be that we went through that process and it turned out that people ended up changing that perception. And I would certainly hope that would happen, or whatever happens. Those I represent in District 1, I could walk down my street and talk to 60 people and they say they just don't like it. And fair or unfair, that's what I represent. And I have to do that. One of my concerns, and big concerns, is if we're following Sacramento's arena requirements, this is the beginning of many more high-density projects. If we're going to meet the arena requirements, we have to build 11 more 1 Metro Wests, and that means they should go to everybody's district, and it may happen. This is approximately 32,000 more residents in Costa Mesa. 1 Metro West renters, it's not homeowners. I like to encourage home ownership. I understand there's a need for renters, but adding this type of development would make us heavy on renters in that percentage. And so those are my reasons. I just wanted to explain them and respectfully put that in the record. And I think that's all I have to say, Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I didn't say anything, by the way, to support the motion because I said it all last time. So, okay. So I see Councilmember Mar, though, wishes to speak. So, sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Mar.
Oh, sorry.
You've got it. Whoops. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to echo some of the things Councilmember Reynolds said. We've been talking about this project for years at this point. We had a baker's box of documents delivered to our doorsteps, I don't know, 6 weeks before we actually ended up voting on it. So I had plenty of time to go through it and ask questions. I think I'm doing a pretty crappy job up here if I'm asking questions about the project at 1 a.m. after having sat on that material for 6 weeks. So I don't actually think that's a good use of the public's time. I also think it's possible to maintain two thoughts in my head at the same time. And that is that I believe in preserving single-family neighborhoods. I represent College Park and Mesa Del Mar. I don't think anyone is advocating for building a bunch of high density in the middle of either of those two neighborhoods. But I also think that there is a need for additional housing in our community and that it is appropriate to build additional housing on a case-by-case basis such that we can satisfy our need for additional housing and our need for more affordable housing. And so I want to be clear. I don't think anybody up here is saying that this project should try to get around Measure Y. I don't think anyone up here has ever actually said that. We've had conversations about Measure Y and blight. We've had conversations about Measure Y and some of our concerns for the future. But this notion that we're like deviously plotting behind the scenes to try to overturn Measure Y is somewhat of a fantasy. My dad was visiting in town and he got a Facebook ad actually and approached me and said, "So what is this evil thing that you're doing that's going to cause a bunch of traffic on Harbor Boulevard?" And I kind of laughed. I was like, where did you hear that, Dad? He was like, "Oh, I'm getting Facebook ads not supporting whatever it is that you're supposedly nefariously doing." So it's just this, I mean, believe it or not, I think even Councilmember Harper would agree, like, we don't go upstairs in closed session and like plot how to overturn the will of the people, believe it or not. So anyway, I support this project and I'm glad to see it move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I don't see any other council members that wish to speak on this item. So it looks like it's time to call for the question.
The motion carries 5-1 with Councilmember Harper voting no, Councilmember Harlan abstaining.
Thank you very much. Would somebody please retrieve Councilmember Harlan? Okay. Once Councilmember Harlan is comfortably in his seat, please read the title to number 11, CC 11.
Item number 11 is the traffic signal installation for Baker Street and Randolph Avenue, City Project number 21-01, and member of the public has pulled this item.
Okay, a member of the public has pulled the item, so let's open it up for public comment. Take your time. Sir, you have 3 minutes. You have the floor.
Thank you. And I just want to say, first of all, this is where a crosswalk policy would be handy. Circulation element 2.1 mentions that we should have a crosswalk policy. So this is where it would be really useful. So I want to talk about what is good about this project. First of all, there are bike detection at all 4 corners. That's fantastic. 4 crosswalks. Some intersections in our city don't have 4 legs to a crosswalk. This one will. That's great. 8-foot bike lanes that actually reach the intersection. That's fantastic. As a cyclist, I love that it reaches the intersection. Something I have no idea because I can't read traffic signal timing is if there's going to be a leading pedestrian interval. I assume Mr. Sethuraman will know the answer to that question. But there are a few things that I think can be improved at this intersection and should be improved so that it's safe and just good to use for all pedestrians. First of all, the left turn lanes on Baker are buffered instead of the bike lanes being protected by a space so that they aren't just right next to a car. So instead of having a 4-foot buffer next to the left turn lane, how about splitting that 2-foot buffers for the bike lanes so that they're actually protected? Another thing that we could do is fix the curb ramps. Right now, the curb ramps in the project design go diagonal. Diagonal curb ramps force someone either on a bike or on a wheelchair or pushing a stroller to go into the intersection. What we need are directional curb ramps so that you go straight into the crosswalk, and it's just much easier for people who have to use the curb ramps to not have to go into the street where there are moving cars. Circulation element 2.1 also mentions bulb outs, and I don't know if this would be appropriate for this intersection, but I would really appreciate shortening the distance of the crosswalk so I don't have to spend as much time in the street and I can be on a bulb out. And finally, I think that the car lanes in this intersection are just way too wide. If you look at Randolph Avenue, there are 4 through lanes, and the outermost lanes are 20 feet wide. Now, a freeway lane is 12 feet wide, and the lanes here are going to be 20 feet. That does not make any sense to me. And on Baker Street, they are also 12 feet wide, which is the same as a freeway. How does it make any sense that a street where the speed limit is 40, 45 miles per hour is the same width as a highway, a freeway, where the speed limit is 60 and cars are going 70? That just doesn't make any sense to me. We should narrow these lanes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak from the public? Okay. All right.
Mr. Mayor, we have nobody on Zoom.
Nobody on Zoom? Okay. Let's see. Does anybody wish to make a motion? Close public comment. Motion by, oh yeah, you could, why don't we make a motion and you could speak, everybody could speak. So motion by Councilmember Reynolds, second by Chavez. Councilmember Reynolds, what's your motion?
I'm going to move that we adopt staff recommendations. There's 6 items here. I do have questions for Mr. Sethuraman. Okay. Is there a second? Okay. So second by Councilmember Chavez, and then Mayor Pro Tem Mar. Councilmember Reynolds, did you want to support your motion? Talk to support your motion, or did you have the question? Yes, and if I may ask questions now too?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great, thank you. I'm moving the recommendation because I want to get really any pedestrian-friendly project moving. But I did want to ask a question. I know we've had a lot of discussions about sort of the I know all of these projects are sort of long in formation, and there's a lot of work that's already been done on this. And we've been working with the bike walk committee members about, what are the right times to make sure there's input, the kind of input we have, that there's an opportunity for conversations about some of these recommendations. We heard questions about leading pedestrian intervals, lane width, bulb outs, curb ramps. Can you answer the question about the leading pedestrian interval, and then educate me, probably some others, about how we might review some of the other recommendations we heard from the speaker and incorporate, look into whether it makes sense to incorporate those into the design as well?
Mr. Mayor, if I can answer that. Councilmember Reynolds, the leading pedestrian interval is when we provide an advance time for pedestrians to begin crossing before other vehicles get the traffic signal. Definitely that's something that can be implemented as part of this project. So when we look at the implementing traffic signal timing plans, we'll take that into account and we'll make sure that that gets done. With respect to the lane widths, this is a signal project at this specific intersection. We cannot arbitrarily change lane widths at just one point. You have to carry it further onto the street on either side of the street. So when we have a project that's much larger, like when we rehab, for example, Baker Street, that's when we can redo the travel lanes and we can modify things to fit things better. So at this point, it's purely a signal installation project, and that's what's designed right now.
Could you thank you for that description, and that makes sense with the lane widths, especially with the scope of this project. Can you describe do we have another project in I don't know the whole ATP implementation plan off the top of my head, but is there another project sort of upcoming that could include the analysis and implementation of some of these other pedestrian improvements? I'm thinking this is adjacent to the Randolph Parking and Pedestrian Improvement Project that we just approved. Yeah, so could you expand on the opportunity to implement some of these other ideas?
Yes, Councilmember Reynolds. Yeah, this is definitely next to the Randolph Avenue pedestrian and parking project. So we made sure that this project ties up with that project. So that part was done, and you'll soon see us coming to you with the Randolph project for that approval. With respect to Baker Street itself, at this point, it's not in the immediate list of projects, but I'm sure something will come up in the next few years.
Okay, I'm going to sort of keep my motion for approval and just encourage us to and I know you've done this with 18th Street most recently, keep our eyes open for any opportunities for those additional pedestrian enhancements. I will share that because it was more than a year ago now, but there was 1 month that I biked everywhere, and I will say that Baker Street was the scariest street to bike on, in large part because of the traffic speeds there. So this is in our pedestrian priority zone in our general plan, I think, or our circulation element. So really taking advantage of any opportunity to implement some of these improvements is important. One other request as part of the construction, I noticed at some of our construction on Fairview Road, just north of Costa Mesa High School, we did block some of the sidewalk lanes and didn't have sort of a way around them. And so if we can make sure during construction here, we still have protected walk lanes when we are impeding the sidewalks, that would be not just great, but critical. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Mar.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to ask about the tie-in to Randolph as well. So we're working on Randolph parking. There's a lot of breweries on Randolph. Like, ideally, we wouldn't be encouraging people to drive so much as we'd be encouraging people to bike. Now that I live in Mesa Del Mar, I can bike to Randolph a lot easier. So I've been paying a lot more attention to that area of town in particular. I think I just said in particular 4 times in a sentence. Sorry, it's been a long day. The bulb outs particularly, if we're able, I said it again. If we're able to make the crossing on Baker as we cross Randolph a little bit more narrow, is that part something that we could include in the scope of this project specifically?
Mayor Pro Tem Mar, at this point, it's not part of the project. It's because we got bike lanes also on this street. We have to see how a bulb out would affect the bike lane.
Okay.
But something that we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, like I'm looking at the plan, and it looks like we've got to do a lot of tearing up on the east and west side of Randolph. So, yeah, anything we can do in this intersection. I agree with Councilmember Reynolds. I rode my bike on the sidewalk the whole way on Baker because I was afraid to be in traffic. So that was 2 weekends ago. All right, whatever we can do here, we've got 40,000 in contingency. So if you had to expand the scope to include this, I think this probably counts as council direction to do that. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other council members wishing to speak, so let's call for the question.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, so now is the only natural time we have for a break. I don't need one, but if anybody wants to take a break, ask for the cue and I'll give us all a break. All right, I don't see anybody, so let's press on. We now have one public hearing item. Don, did you want a break? Oh. She went, should we take a break? Let's take, yeah. Yeah, she's just getting a snack? Are you good to keep going? All right, she's just getting a snack. So, one public hearing item. Clerk, please read the title. Boom.
Thank you. This is approved certification of special assessments for the collection of delinquent civil citations for municipal code violations in relation to illegal and unlicensed cannabis businesses. Presentation by Ms. Molina, Finance Director.
You have the floor, Ms. Molina.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members. Before you tonight is an authority presented by city staff to add special assessments to the Orange County property tax roll as it relates to delinquent civil citations pertaining to illegal and unlicensed cannabis operations in the city of Costa Mesa. To provide you an overview of cannabis, cannabis was approved by the state of California in 1996 for medical use. 2016, approximately a decade later, California voters approved recreational cannabis, and the city of Costa Mesa approved Measure X, approved by voters allowing for cannabis manufacturing and distribution. In 2020, most Costa Mesa voters approved Measure Q, allowing for storefront retail and delivery of cannabis. And just recently, City Council approved the city tax of 7% on cannabis sales for retail and delivery. Of that 7%, 0.5% going towards the arts, and the other 0.5% going towards first-time home buyer program. As it relates to civil citations overall, per Municipal Code Section 134, civil citations is to encourage voluntary and complete compliance with the city's municipal codes and eliminate any nuisances for protection and benefit for the entire community. When a business receives a citation, because they have been in violation of a municipal code, a citation is also issued to the property owner at that time. The citation states that the citees have 30 days to request a public administrative hearing to contest the citation and also to pay the fee. After 30 days, that citation is then forwarded to the Finance Department, where the Finance Department will issue an invoice with the due amount, the description of the citation, and any late penalties. 30 days thereafter, if that citation is not addressed via either a discussion with the Finance Department or paid, a second invoice is also then generated to the property owner as well as a citee to address the delinquent fines. After 60 days, per the municipal code, the city can request for those citations to be added to the county property tax rolls. For delinquent civil citations, which would be those after 60 days or in excess of about $250, those citations require multiple staff to be involved. I want to personally thank all the staff from the city manager's office, city attorney, finance, development services, police, who are all involved in the delinquent civil fines related to the illegal and unlicensed cannabis operations for the city of Costa Mesa. These illegal and unlicensed cannabis operations do present dangers to the city public because they are requiring zoning, building, and fire codes to be up to date. When they are not going through the proper protocols, it does provide some of those businesses to be either out of compliance and create potential dangerous importance that can cause health, welfare, and safety concerns for residents as well as visitors. Before you tonight, staff is requesting City Council approval to assess delinquent fees and fines for up to 12 properties for an estimated amount of about $222,000. These citations are older than 60 days, have greater than $250 fees and fines. The citees have been provided multiple opportunities to pay these fines and directly contact the Finance Department staff to handle these citations. As well tonight, I would like to have City Council authorize staff to amend the property list accordingly. Since the public notice and the certified letters that have been sent to all of the citees, we have received some payments. We are requesting that those properties that have our current with their citations be taken off the property roll. With that, I'm open to any questions.
Council, do you have any questions for Ms. Molina or anybody else on staff? Let's go with Councilmember Harlan has the first question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for that presentation, Ms. Molina. I understand this may not be part of the scope of the resolution here, but on page 2, there's a paragraph regarding what appears to be a limited appeal process, stating that property owner may appear before the city council at a public hearing to contest the amount or validity of any lien. Is that similar to what we do with parking citations? I just want to get a better understanding of what the mechanics are of that.
Yeah, I can answer that question. Actually, tonight is the public hearing at which they have the opportunity to make that protest.
Okay. Were they aware of that fact?
Yes, they've all been given certified mail notice of the fact that this was a public hearing and that these assessments would be before the council for consideration tonight.
Okay, so I mischaracterized that. There is no limited appeal process.
Well, there actually is an appeal process where they can go through an administrative hearing and then also to court. These are all appeals or all citations where they did not pursue that process or where that process has been completed and they are found to have owed the money. But they have the last opportunity tonight to demonstrate to you that they've either paid them or that the amount before you is not actually correct.
Okay, I appreciate that clarification. What is then that appeals process? If someone wants to contest it, who is the actual adjudicatory body for that appeal?
You mean the appeals that they have an opportunity for before tonight?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, they can file an appeal and it's heard by the city's hearing officer, and then that can be appealed to the Superior Court.
Right. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Harper. Oh, you should be, can you try it again? I tried to push you. Go ahead. Oh, hold on. Yeah, don't touch anything. Just do it again now. Boom. You should be good. You're good.
We're good?
Got it.
You know, I voted against cannabis, but after reading some of these names, these people have a sense of humor. Temple of Supreme Purity, Church of Newport Mesa. I'm assuming these are not religious places, right? They are cannabis. Okay, we're not closing down churches. Okay, we're good. My only concern on this thing is if they're all property owners and operators and it's connected, I have no problem with this. My only concern is if there's a property owner that's leasing to an operator who gets cited and then there's not proper notification to that property owner who doesn't know, and I don't know what that's like. So Carol, maybe you can speak to that.
Of course, Councilmember Harper. So at the time the leasee, the business is cited, the property owner receives a citation as well via mail. That citation is sent to the property owner based on the Orange County property tax rolls, what their mailing address is.
So when he gets a citation, he just gets notified that the operator's gotten a citation, or does the property owner get a citation?
The property owner is cited as well.
Wow.
At the time. So keep in mind that the property owner also has that 30 days of citation date to come to the city to contest the citation.
And is the city going to say, okay, yeah, you have a problem, go fix it, you're not going to be cited? I mean, if I'm a property owner and I lease to someone and I think they're legitimate and they do this and they get cited.
They're on a case-by-case basis, to be honest with you. It all depends on what the case is before the hearing officer at that time. So if the citee, in this case the property owner, comes to the city finance department within 30 days and requests a public hearing, an administrative hearing before a hearing officer,
right? At
that point, the property owner has the opportunity to present their case to the hearing officer.
Well, what's their case going to be?
I
mean, is it the law? Is it the law that if I lease property to someone and they do something illegal and get cited, I'm going to pay for it? Is that the law?
If I could address.
Oh, sure. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I didn't hear you.
No, that's all right.
Sorry, Ms. Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what happens is the property owner, if they truly don't know, when they get the citation that there is an illegal business operating on their property, they have all the opportunity in the world to stop that illegal business from operating on their property. They can evict them, they can give them 30-day notice to quit, they can cooperate with code enforcement to abate the nuisance, and then in that case, the hearing officer would be satisfied that they were not, that they had not received notice or had not no knowledge of this illegal business operating there. If they don't do that, and they are on notice, and usually before they get a first citation, they've already received, I'm sure Ms. Lee can confirm this, they always receive a warning before they get cited for these illegal businesses. So the property owner will already know, and in most cases, we are dealing with nuisance abatement actions against many of the property owners ultimately. Some of the property owners do step up immediately, and they typically, if they do, they will typically evict that tenant, and the hearing officer will dismiss that, or the city will dismiss it.
Got it.
That is not what has occurred in these cases.
And so I'm supportive of this. I just want to make sure that's clear. And as long as you, I get that, I get the Temple of Supreme Purity selling marijuana, and as long as I demonstrate to the city I'm evicting them, you're going to be forgiving and let me out of that. So, okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's, I don't see any other council members that wish to ask questions, so let's open this up to public comment. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Dennis D'Alessio, and I am one of these people on the list. And I know you all know me, but I do want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you directly without having to deal with all my lawyers and discuss this matter. We've had a lot of disagreements with the city, but we are in litigation with the city, and we are going through the process to kind of identify these kinds of issues. Now, right now, I understand that our company and the city is in mediation to try to solve some of the issues at my property. Now, I can tell you, we want to solve the problems in some of these businesses, some of these areas, and we're committed to do so. But what's happening today is very unfair. I'm the landlord, and we rented to these businesses. They came in as, one, the Holy Church. They had a ministry license. They had their Bibles. They had their stuff, and we rented to them. We have a building that's an old, obsolete medical building that we've been trying to convert for a while, and hopefully one day we'll be able to do that. But I got a letter yesterday. I evicted the tenant 6 months ago, and I got a letter today saying that these tenants haven't paid their fines. Now, I got a fine, but I never got notice that they also got fined. I just found out that they got fined today. And they got fined, 2 years ago. Now, COVID was an issue, but 2 years ago, I evicted them. I spent lots of money evicting them. And now I'm supposed to pay their bill? Now, it is unfair for a law officer to give a driver a speeding ticket, but then also give the landlord a speeding ticket, who had nothing to do with it. Now, I paid my fines, and we are mediating that cause. Is a landlord responsible for making sure their tenant has a business license, that they pay their taxes, that they do all the things appropriately? That's going to be litigated. And so, especially with regard to my property, 5 of these are from tenants, 3 of these citations are for me that I've paid, and that we are going through this mediation process. I am hopeful we'll solve that. But I feel that we are being unfairly treated. And I can tell you, 6 years ago, I came here with a solution to the council, not this council, but a different council. And I said, how about if I just tear the building down and build houses? The city council was excited for that. They said, go for it, 5-0. So I did. I went through the process. I got architects, engineers. I spent over $200,000 with consultants, traffic studies. Turns out,
Yeah. So you only get 3 minutes, sorry. Okay. You- I can't go over 3 with you because it's not fair to everybody else. Hold on one second. I have to turn on your mic. Go ahead.
Good morning, council members, and good evening. Good evening, council members. It's been a long night already. And good evening, Mayor Stevens. I'm here on behalf of my client, who's on the list as well, LMUSA Inc. They are the property owners for 128-132 Cabrillo Street. I am here to contest the lien assessment citations on their behalf. And I wanted to point out, in order to preserve any rights that we have in adjudicating this matter with the court, the Superior Court, I wanted to point out to the city that the letter that we received, July 7th, that my client received, is actually an improper notice. And I would point the city to Government Code 54988B1. That section details the requirements that are needed in the notice letter, which lacks the requirements thereof. So I just wanted to bring that to the City Council's attention, and that we will also object to the improper notice that we received in the letter dated July 7th regarding the special assessment.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak from the public, from the gallery? No? Does anybody wish to speak on Zoom?
Yes, we have Mr. Lawson.
Okay, Mr. Lawson, you have the floor. Press, I think it's *6 if you're on the phone.
No, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. Hey, I also received this letter Friday, and I immediately called the city to say, hey, I just got this. It says here I had 10 violations. I have not received notice of any of these violations. And in your letter, it says you made repeated attempts to collect civil citations. Last week was the first time I got this. I also got my first violation about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago. And when I got it, I went to the city, talked to everybody, the city talked to Renee, and told them, yeah, this is going on here. I'll pay the fine, but I got to find out about evicting the tenant. So I go to my lawyers, and lawyers are not, they go through the lease, who I leased it to a guy named Stein Lee, and he said, you can't evict on these principles. And so I'm kind of stuck in a hard place here. I had a 2-year lease. I got rid of, at the end of 2 years, which was March 2019 or 20, I started the eviction process. I went right into COVID. It took me 1 year to evict him. I sold the building on March 17, 2021. And on last week, I got a bill for $25,000 from the city. And I just don't think that's a fair way to treat a citizen and a landowner in Costa Mesa. I did own the building. I did not own the business. I did not receive notice of this. I did not receive repeated attempts to collect it. I have never ignored anything from the city. I mean, as soon as I got this letter, within 20 minutes, I was talking to someone at the finance department. I called them 3 times in the last 2 days, and I've gotten no calls back. So I'm asking you to help me out with this. I don't think this is a fair way to treat a citizen here. It just doesn't feel right. And I no longer own the building. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think we have any questions. Do you have? We're not allowed to go back and forth and ask questions.
I'm sorry. This is my first time on Zoom, and I didn't think I could get all this in 3 minutes. So.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Hold on. So somebody started the time. Did you start the time over again? It's okay. It's all good. So have you completed your public comment, sir?
Yeah, in that short period of time, yes, I have. Thank you for listening.
I appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Does anyone else on Zoom wish to speak?
Mr. Mayor, nobody further.
Okay, let's close public comments, and I'll take a motion, and then I've got some questions, but I think we should get a motion on the floor. Councilmember Chavez, do you wish to make a motion?
Move staff recommendation.
Okay, Councilmember Mar.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Chavez, do you wish to speak in support of your motion? No. Okay, Councilmember Mar, you wish to speak in support of the?
I do. So, we've been pushing staff for a long time to try to identify what are all of the tools in our tool belt as a city such that we can exercise them against businesses that have been operating blatantly illegally in town for an extended period of time. We've used code enforcement. We've partnered with the DA. We've done as much as we can that was currently on the books. And so this is an attempt by staff to give us another tool in that toolbox. And I think this has been, not without a lot of discussion internally. I understand from the city attorney and finance department to make sure that we're doing this right. And I think we need to use everything that is at our disposal. We get complaints every single day about illegal dispensaries. I get calls every single day, basically, about illegal dispensaries. One opening up, one being a bad neighbor, one, causing a stench in an alley, one operating too close to residential. We're about to embark on a legal cannabis dispensary phase of our city, but in order for that to be successful and for us to do what we said we were going to do as part of operating and allowing legal dispensaries means that we've got to shut down the ones that are not operating legally. And so we need to take every step that we possibly can to make that happen. And this is one of them. Thank you.
So I have just one question. Thank you very much. I've got one question for the city attorney. So we did have we've talked, Ms. Molina talked about, I think, about evictions. I heard you talk about that. If they're going through an eviction process, then that makes a difference. I think the city attorney said that too. Okay. And so my question is this, and it's a little bit of a concern, but I think I can reconcile this, is we have had a commercial eviction moratorium until very recently. But I do believe that there's a carve out for if somebody is operating a business that causes a problem with public health and some of the things that was reflected in the presentation. Am I right about that?
That's correct. The moratorium that we had in place was purely for non-payment of rent due to COVID impacts. It did not prevent eviction for violating lease terms, for operating an illegal business, for doing improper and illegal building code violations inside, and all of those things have occurred with many of these businesses.
Okay. And one other thing before we call for the question is, and as I understand it, and maybe Ms. Lee, you're the person to answer this because you're in charge of code enforcement, but there have been some property owners, including over on College in District 2, that have cooperated very closely with police and code enforcement and have seized hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cannabis and evicted illicit dispensaries. That has happened, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And our code enforcement officers make contact with the tenants as well as the property owners. There are very willing property owners who, in fact, were not aware that the dispensaries were operating out of their properties. And when we have willing participants in the process that are clearly moving towards a solution, we do use our discretion to work with them initially and not issue citations to begin with. The folks that are long-term operators have not gone through that process and have not taken advantage of a cooperative relationship with code enforcement.
Thank you. Okay, I have no further questions, but it looks like Councilmember Harper has a question, so he has the floor.
I'm thinking of that last caller, and do we have as a city proof that we in fact served notice or gave that, or have a certified mail or whatever that he received that notice?
Yes, all of the notices were sent out in certified mail. We also have copies of all of the citations and invoices that were sent to the property owners.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Harlan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question, and I'll choose one of the citees just for an example. So let's just say for, I guess, what's property number 9, 128, 132 Cabrillo Street. So there are several citations noted here. I'm curious, what is the timing in between issuance of these citations?
I don't have the timing in front of me, Councilmember Harlan, specifically for that property, but in general, our activities usually go through a process of a notice of violation. We typically give a property owner anywhere from 10 days to 30 days to rectify or show progress in rectifying the situation. And beyond that, we will begin issuing citations. And we give a correction period again, and then if there's no progress, issue the second citation and so on. So there's typically anywhere from 10 to 30 days, and it can be more at the discretion of the officer. If we see some progress for these properties, we typically have not seen progress.
Right. So when I see 7 citations issued, I'm under the impression that the property owner would have been aware, or at least the tenant was aware and just chose to ignore it. And then another tenant that comes in under a different name may be either associated with that prior operation or at least similarly notified of the illegal use. So to my mind, the fact when I see several citations like this, it seems like we've given ample notice and opportunity to correct. Does that seem fair?
That seems fair to me, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I don't see any more council members who wish to speak on this item, so we've heard from the public and we've heard from council. Let's call for the question.
Councilmember Harper, please. Thank you. The motion carries 7-0.
Okay, let's go on to new business item 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is introduction and first reading of ordinance amending residency requirement for members of the Planning Commission, amendment of Council Policy 000-2, and a repeal of Council Policy 2.5. And so I am going to do the staff presentation on this. It's going to be a brief presentation. And let's see, I'm not sure if this will work. There we go. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. For your consideration is first reading of an ordinance changing the residency requirement of a planning commissioner. The proposed amendment would remove the requirement that commissioners live in a certain district. This would allow a city council member to recommend appointment of an individual that lives anywhere in Costa Mesa. The individual still must be a Costa Mesa resident and registered to vote at the time the member is nominated and appointed and for the duration of their term. However, this does not prevent any council member from appointing an individual from their own district still. Next slide, please. Also before you is consideration of revisions to Council Policy 2 and elimination of Policy 2.5. These revisions do not change the fact that appointed committee members must be a Costa Mesa resident, with a few exceptions, such as a mobile home park owner is on the mobile home committee. Other than that, but again, just to clarify, the committee members must be Costa Mesa's residents. For the planning commissioners, they must be Costa Mesa residents and be a registered voter in Costa Mesa. This concludes my report. I and the city attorney are available for questions. Thank you.
Okay. So I asked for this, so I just want to say just a few sentences for why. Just having some weird stuff going on here with my presentation screen. Does anybody have that where it goes presentation screen? Anyway, whatever. I'll go to the House panel. So the motivation for this had nothing to do with committees, and it just was very simply that Councilmember Colbert and another Commissioner Colbert and another commissioner had expressed to me that they were eventually Commissioner Colbert moved out of the city, but was having trouble. He was renting and having trouble finding a suitable place to live in District 2, and the other. I'm not going to mention the name of the other commissioner who had a similar issue, and so I got to thinking, well, isn't it really the individual council members' discretion, and they should be able to decide whether or not it's important to them that their commissioner that they nominate lives in the district. So I thought I'd bring it before you all and decide what you want to do. It's purely your decision. It does not affect me, but it would give you a little bit more discretion if you choose to make the amendment to the ordinance, and then if not, if you still find it's important that your commissioner lives in your district, that's your discretion. So that's just the reason I brought it forward, and it had nothing to do with the committees. I wasn't thinking about that at all. So anyway, that's it. Let's hear from the public. Oh yeah, you can ask questions, of course.
Thank you. I have one question. I assume, Ms. Green, you can answer. You described different requirements between committee and commission members. Both have a residency requirement. You mentioned that the commission also has a qualified elector requirement. Is that our rules, or are those sort of requirements from some higher body?
I can answer that question.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's actually a city rule. It's not mandatory that they be registered voters, but it is in our ordinance, I believe. I take that back. It's currently in the policy because we were recommending that you repeal 000-2.5, which only applied to the Planning Commission and what was formerly called the Parks Commission, and is now PAX. We put that into the ordinance instead, but that is a local requirement. It's not mandated by state law.
Okay, thank you. So just to confirm, we are able to just say just residency requirement and not qualified elector. I think that was the term.
Yes, for planning commissioners and PAX commissioners, that's something that's in the ordinance. It's not required by state law. So you can delete that if you like.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and the reason I ask about that, the mayor may remember this when we were looking to fill the last, or looking for applicants for the last at-large commission, planning commission seat vacated by the mayor. There was a very qualified person who took the time to put together an application, and I think she maybe had a green card, I can't remember, but we found out that she was sort of ineligible given our current policy, and I thought that was unfortunate. I didn't follow up at that point. Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, let's open it up for public comment.
Good evening again. Mayor Stevenson, members of the City Council. I can't remember if I mentioned this the other day, but that was a great event to open the Norma Herzog Community Center and the park. It was quite a celebration to see dreams do come true in Costa Mesa. It takes a long time. We just have to be patient. I would like to persuade 4 of you to keep the current ordinance where a council member supports or appoints a planning commissioner from his or her own district. You might, well, some of you probably don't remember a Mr. Schenkman from Malibu. And he is an attorney, and he threatened to sue a lot of cities and school districts if cities did not chop up their city into districts for equity. There's a lot of equity. We're talking about equity all the time. And because all the districts were chopped up, the city was chopped up into 6 districts, it enables a possibility of someone who represents a minority as a citizen can be elected. Changing this to allow for a council person to appoint somebody outside of their district really messes everything up. For example, Diane Russell is my planning commissioner, and I have called her, for example, and talked to her at length because she represents me on the west side about the LED signs at Triangle Square that I don't like and oppose. And also, I just think there are many people in each district who are fully qualified to serve on the Planning Commission. I think that it's unfortunate that Mr. Colbert didn't, the Commissioner Colbert wasn't able to find a residence, but there are plenty of other people. There were 2 other people who ran against Mr. Gamero in the last election. Maybe, you know, they would be interested in applying for the Planning Commission. I just think that it's important to keep that relationship between in the district. I can talk to Arliss or Council Member Reynolds, which I do on many occasions, and I like that relationship. I don't think that it's not going to benefit the city to have somebody outside of that district on the Planning Commission because they don't know the district. I mean, why wouldn't want somebody from Mesa Verde representing me in District 5? So please, 4 people, let's just keep it as it is, and the parks too. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't see you. You have the floor.
Thank you. All right, I just wanted to say 2 things. Whatever we do with the Planning Commission, I feel like it would just kind of make sense to also do with the Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission. They're both commissions. I would think that they would have roughly the same rules. And secondly, I just wanted to advocate for removing the qualified elector language. I just hope that that is something that we can remove since it's not a state requirement. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am.
Thank you. The reason I want you to keep it as ordinance as it is from what we've just spoke about today. You've got 1 Metro West, that's a huge project. What if Mesa Verde had no representation? That's a huge project. Every one of your districts are going to wind up with one of these behemoths, and you should have a representative for those individual projects. Everyone knows the west side, unique. The east side, different from the west side. Mesa Verde, different from 2. These are very distinct representative groups, and I think you should have 1 in each district that represents them, or else this districting and all the heartache and grief and attorney bills that we went through those are for naught. They wanted all residents to be represented. So if we have a district that doesn't actually have someone sitting and watching out for their behalf, I think we have not been successful in transparency for all of our residents. So I ask you, please keep this as it is. I know that one of the planning commissioners has gotten married and moved to San Juan Capistrano. She was a great representative, but we need each district to have their own unique representative. Thank you.
Everyone, I just want to speak in support of this resolution. I would love to, I agree with the discussion about removing the qualified elector. I think that makes a lot of sense. I also don't really see any reason to handicap the council from potentially having a really qualified person on the commission that may be outside of a given district. I think to me that's the biggest deal, is that we may have incredibly qualified people, people with planning expertise who may not be in the district of a given council member, who understand Costa Mesa, and as long as their residents I live on East Side Costa Mesa, but I've also lived on West Side Costa Mesa. I feel like I understand Costa Mesa well, and I wouldn't want to be handicapped personally if I didn't live in a given district from being on a commission, and I feel like that should be applicable to other people as well. So that's why I'm supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody on Zoom that wishes to speak in public comment?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, then I'll close the public comment, and I will. Oh, here we got Councilmember Reynolds and Councilmember Marr. I got to be quick on the draw. So, Councilmember Reynolds, you have the floor to make a motion.
Thank you. I'd like to move staff recommendation and also remove the qualified elector requirement for our commissions.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Reynolds, do you wish to speak to support your motion?
Sure. Yeah, and I appreciate the comments on this. This one, I'll admit, right away seemed like a slam dunk, and then the more I thought about different comments, I actually went back and forth quite a bit. When sort of my class of council members were elected, we were the first district elected council members, and it was very important to me that we first had each council member appoint a commissioner from their district. I thought it was an important extension of the district elections to have commissions that had members who represented specific districts. The next question after that is should those commission members also live in those districts? And that seemed pretty clear cut right away. I think certainly that should be the default. There is incredible talent in our community. I think we're recognizing the value of the diverse experiences that people have in the city. Costa Mesa is a pretty small city, actually, if you think about it, but the distinct areas of the city are pretty different. I think your daily experience on the east side is different than on the west side, at least by temperatures, as I felt today. And so my default, I do think the default expectation should be that a person comes from that district. I do, however, and I think it's important for parks. I know, I think it was parks, there was a challenge to find enough applicants in some districts, but I think it was a really good exercise in digging hard in the community and really making sure we had a lot of good outreach to find new people who hadn't necessarily been involved but have really good perspectives. The reason I'm supporting this change for Planning Commission is primarily based on the value that we're getting from having renters on our Planning Commission. We have, I think, 3 renters on our Planning Commission. I think that's pretty unusual. And in the commission meetings that I have attended or listened in on Zoom, those renters have brought really valuable perspectives, especially during our housing element conversations. And this restriction is creates a burden on those renters. And I want renters on that commission. I want renters to feel like they can apply and commit to being planning commissioners. And so that's why, although my default, it would normally be that we should have sort of local district representatives, I do think it's a worthwhile exception for our planning commission. I, as a district council member, would probably always try to find a District 5 person to represent me, but I do think that that's my choice as the elected council member, and each district council member should have that choice. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Council member, your mic is hot. Council member, Mayor Pro Tem Marr, go ahead.
Yeah, that's really well said. I think that's the 3rd time I've said that to you tonight, but that's really well said, Councilmember Reynolds. I would just add that I also don't want vacancies on the Planning Commission. So, I mean, I commit to always selecting somebody from District 3, but in the event they move outside of District 3, we've got what we've had happening now, which is sort of significant time when we don't have a fully staffed Planning Commission. And with the sheer volume of things going through the Planning Commission and going through Ms. Liu's department on a regular basis, we need all hands on deck for that. So, while I'll continue to put people from District 3 on the Planning Commission to represent me and the voters of District 3, in the event that they have to move one street over and end up in District 5, I still trust them, their perspective, their knowledge of District 3, like none of that has changed. And so I would just like to minimize the turnover that we've seen over the last couple of years on Planning Commission, but concur that the default position should absolutely be that those people represent a district.
Thank you. Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Mayor Stevens. I have thought about this one for a while, and I will not be supporting the motion. I think my spot on this dais is an indication of the district election system and the unique opportunity it provides to giving those who may not have the resources normally to be on this stage dictating city policy. I have had a hard time finding people to represent my district or Planning and Parks Commission. And it's really made me have to dive deep into the community and talk to residents and really see who may have the latent potential to grow into a role. I was very blessed that the residents in my district trusted me at 23 to be on this dais, and they trusted me to learn and grow as I'm on this dais. And for me, who represents the minority majority district that was, that was why we got sued, I feel like it is my purpose to maintain that intent. So I'm gonna make a substitute motion. Don't know if anyone will support it or not, but I want to make a motion to just say, to introduce a first reading to remove the requirements for voting eligibility on Planning Commission.
Do push.
Councilmember Chavez, is that a substitute motion?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's see.
So where is it? So, Councilmember Gameros, what are you indicating there?
I pushed the wrong button, sorry.
Okay, so then we've got a substitute motion. Do we have a second substitute motion by Chavez? Now it says second, but do we have a second? Okay, going once. Oh yeah, of course you can ask. Go ahead, Councilmember. Councilmember Harlan has a question. Sorry, it's all right. I got you.
It's okay. Arliss is in a different time zone over here on her computer. Councilmember Chavez, is your motion just to remove that restriction and not to support the broad choosing from anyone in the city? You want to limit it to the district. Okay.
Can I ask you a question? Of course. Just ask to push your little button. Sorry, don't get it. Councilmember Harper. Got it?
Councilman Chavez, what's the reason why you want to not have the voter requirement for the representative? And that's the question for, I think someone else mentioned they wanted that too, so.
Can you put it closer?
Oh, can you give me the reason for why you want to remove the voter requirement?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to push your button. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think in the same way that I am here because of, due to unseen circumstances, I also feel that someone that lives in the city still has a say in the city. I don't think a homeowner is more important than a renter. I don't think a citizen is more important than a non-citizen. So for that reason, if you're in the district, I think you should have a voice.
So then you have to be a voter, you have to be a citizen.
Hold on. Ask again.
Well, I think I just said my statement.
Yeah, I think he answered your question. Yeah, okay, good. So I don't see anybody seconding Councilmember Chavez's motion. So I'm going to say that it died for lack of a second. So we have the motion by Councilmember Reynolds, the original motion back on the floor, seconded by Councilmember Marr. We have a couple of council members that wish to speak on this motion. The first one up in the queue is, after all that stuff, is Councilmember Gameros.
Thank you. So
a few things I wanted to say about this. It affects me. I'm the one who has to figure this out. I'm the first person that is going to get ran through this. I spoke with my planning commissioner, Kadarius Colbert, extensively. We were going back and forth. How can we make this work? How can we keep you here? You know, he said, Lauren, I'm just struggling to find a place to live within our district. And since there really is no opportunity, I'm kind of forced to move. If I'm going to move out of the district and lose my seat, I might as well find another city to live in because it's cheaper. So I think that the thought in mind with this is to try and prevent something like that happening in the future. I don't think we're looking at stuffing everybody from Mesa Verde, hypothetically speaking, on the Planning Commission. I don't think that's the intent. The intent is to give a little bit of leeway for placing competent individuals on the Planning Commission to make good, strong, ethical decisions on what's going to be presented before them. So I will conclude with that, but thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Harper, you have the floor. Sorry, yeah, Harper, go.
Okay, permission to make an analogy, a golf analogy, just for
by all
fun.
means.
So it feels like, I could do an in and out analogy too, because I know we love burgers. But we could do, it's like hitting a golf shot under the green and you're 20 feet off the green and you move the pin. The districts were set up, and believe me, I don't always agree with all of you. I don't know if you knew that or not. But I think all the great candidates come out of Mesa Verde. But I do respect, and I'll speak to you, Councilman Chavez, that you represent that district or represent it well. I don't agree with you all the time, but I agree with that concept, and I think that when you force us to find that candidate in your community, in your district, it gives opportunity to those individuals. It gives, someone brought it up, being able to talk to their neighbor and say, hey, I don't like this or I like this. I think it really does encourage that. And by the intent of districting, it just follows through on that. And I feel like we're trying to make something convenient for council because we had a good planning commissioner. I probably didn't agree with him most of the time, but we had him leave, and you're disappointed in that, and I appreciate that. But I think you have to stay the course with what the intent of the rule is and what the law is and what the regulation is. So we have other people that applied for the planning commissioner for District 2. They're available. I think we should go to them. I think it just gives us a lot of equity. Theoretically, technically, you could end up with every planning commissioner from Mesa Verde, theoretically, right? It just forces us to do what I think is the right thing. And with regard to being a citizen, I strongly disagree. I think you need to be a citizen to sit on a commission or a voter, sorry. You want me to say voter, Andrea? It's a voter. Yeah, I think it's, and don't you have to be a citizen to be a voter? Do you?
Anyway.
I don't know. You're talking to me. I appreciate you correcting me. I do. You'd think I'm making fun of you.
No, you have the floor.
Thank you. No, not when Andrea's here. I'm kidding you. I like you very much. That's all I had to say. I think it's the way the rules stand is how we need to operate with it, and we don't need to change it.
All right, Councilmember Harlan.
Thank you, Mayor Stevens. In general, I've never been an advocate of district-appointed planning commissioners, and I've served 4 years on the planning commission here before becoming council member. The bulk of planning commission's work is related to land use applications, which by their very nature are quasi-judicial proceedings that demand careful consideration of evidence and the making of findings based on that evidence, which underpin the commission's decisions. In this regard, whatever district commissioner resides in is irrelevant to the proceedings. Indeed, land use decisions based on the parochial interest of any one district are, in my opinion, antithetical to the quasi-judicial role of the planning commission and make for bad planning. I wish those were my words. That comes from our chair, Byron Derrickle, who I served with. And there's a reason why I quoted him, not just because he is wise and has served this city for many years, but because I think he's right on point. The things that we as council members demand of our planning commissioners require a great deal of technical knowledge, experience, and I think a breadth of understanding of what goes on in the city. So to limit ourselves to someone who's in our district, I don't think is all that helpful. In fact, I've seen it as a planning commissioner. I was appointed as an at-large position when we had new district commissioners come on. I don't think there was any real market difference. We're not that big that we need to have someone from each district with that very narrow interest. And so I support the motion today. I think we want to try and get the best possible candidates for our planning commission. And I think by nature, council members are going to want to select somebody in their district. That this does not preclude them from having that opportunity.
Thank you. Councilmember Marr, you wanted to speak again, and then I have a few words.
Yeah, sorry, I'll be brief. I apologize, Councilmember Harper.
Okay.
I shouldn't have interrupted you while you were talking. I give you a hard time sometimes, and I don't mean to interrupt your flow. And just to be clear, I think I just wanted to put on the record that we made up this rule 2.5 years ago, right? It didn't come down from on high. It wasn't part of the founding documents of the city. We thought it might be a good idea when we went to districts. So I'm all for modifying it right now and seeing how that goes. And you know what? Another 2.5 years, if it's not working out, we can change it again. So this is a part of this district thing. To be honest, we're all figuring out together, and sometimes things work, and sometimes they feel a little balkanized, and sometimes I wish we weren't in districts, and sometimes I'm so glad we are. So I don't know. Let's do it this way. Let's give it a couple years. Let's see if it's working. So that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think that that's a good way to look at it. I just think, to Councilmember Chavez's point, which I respect, it's if that is a deal breaker for Councilmember Chavez, that somebody is in his district that represents him as his nominee for the Planning Commission, then that's his deal breaker. And at the end of the day, the way the districting works, the council members are accountable to the people in their district for re-election. And if they choose, they have to make a decision, and they are the deliberative body. I mean, I say they because it doesn't matter with me. I can pick anybody, but it's the council members, the 6. And if they choose to pick someone out of their district, then that's a potential area that they could be criticized. And I would expect under those circumstances, they'd have a powerful explanation for why they chose somebody from another district. And the issues that, in terms of local knowledge, that piece, what motivated me to bring this forward was council members that were appointed while they were in the district, that were renters that wanted to move and had trouble landing a new residence in that district. So they had the local knowledge. But that might not be the circumstance later. We'll see. And I do agree with Chair D'Ericle's point about most of the decisions on the Planning Commission are quasi-judicial, and they deal with applications, and they don't have anything to do with what district you're in, and that will be particularly important going forward with Measure Q applications. And I know that because, like Councilmember Harlan said he's sat as the vice chair of the Planning Commission, and I had a cup of coffee on the Planning Commission, so I think I know what is happening there. So anyway, that's it. That's why I'm voting for the motion. Let's call for the question.
Excuse me, Councilmember Reynolds. Did not. Okay, let me mark that for you, please. Okay. The motion carries 5-2 with council members Chavez and Harper voting no.
Okay, let's move to our last item on the agenda, new business item 2.
This is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Costa Mesa, California, ratifying Regulation Number 6, issued by the city manager as Director of Emergency Services, revising Regulation Number 5 regarding temporary suspension of enforcement of certain parking restrictions in residential neighborhoods. Presentation by Ms. Farrell Harrison, City Manager.
Thank you, Brenda. This item is coming forward in concert with the OC Fair to make sure that we have suspended or that we reinstate the suspension that we have of the residential parking permit program, specifically in the neighborhoods abutting the fair, just during the time that the fair is in session, so through mid-August, so that the neighborhoods aren't overly impacted by the visitors in attendance at the fair. For additional questions, I think Kim is here for some of the technical aspects of it, but that's basically, in short, what this item is before you this evening.
Okay. Do you have anything to add?
No, only that this was, we deemed necessary based upon the determination that the residents around the fair would be very heavily impacted if we were not able to enforce for them for this limited period of time.
Excellent. All right. Do council members have any questions? I don't see any. How about the public? Does the public wish to speak on this? Anybody inside the chambers? I don't see anybody. Anybody on Zoom?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Close public comment. I will entertain a motion. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Marr, seconded by Harlan. What is the motion?
I'll move to approve the staff recommendation.
Is that the second?
Yes.
All right. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just briefly, the residents of District 3, thank you.
Do you wish to speak to the second? No. Okay. Does any other council member wish to speak pertaining to the motion? Okay, let's call for the question.
I'm sorry. Councilmember Reynolds, it did not register again. Yes, thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
7-0. Okay, so that's great. So we're at the end of our agenda. Now is the time for additional comments or anything that the council members want to get off their chest that they didn't say before. Does anybody have anything? Put requests for the mic, going once, going twice. I don't have anything, so we're adjourned. So the under, if anybody had the under, they won because it's 8:51 and we're adjourned.